I'm Michael Lighten, writer of science fiction and poetic works. I'm reading 8 sections from Care Teachings for On the World. Each section will have its own part so that you can hear how the writing flows and see if you have interest. This is the last of 8 sections. This reading will consist of how do we get here? In other words, what point humanity's at now, where to go from here. After this reading, I will leave some connections in the show notes below. How do we get here? We are the angels that fell from grace of God. All of us contributed to that terrible event where we broke from the divine to go our own way. For successive generations, they fall as an echo vibrates through everything so that each child born almost forgets the purpose of their birth. Some do these are deemed the evil ones. The error begins at birth and the echoes of the fall. There is a possibility of a soul going completely astray. With the many avenues that could be taken, this is the most horrendous and the saddest because each soul born from the spark of God will always retain that spark. The spark forever retained, and that tortured soul lives a life of brutality and violence because of that spark, which cannot be denied. The spark is love. Hating themselves, the evil ones turn inward only to devour their life force, which moves them to the hellish realms and darkest areas. While the life force remains on earth, there is a chance of redemption. Our earthly experience, being human, is the most difficult of things because of echoes of the fall. It's not supposed to be like this with war, disease, and death. We cause this and our impatience to achieve beyond our own ability. The version of the fall in the holy books gave a confusing perception of how the fall was achieved. Of course, this came from interpretation of that terrible event after many eons. The fault is not in the holy books and their version of the fall, but the confusing terms from the interpretation was evident it was about desire and about something we could not have, instructed by divinity. Still, we tried to achieve, and thus we became locked in our own desire, not able to travel back and forth from earth to the first heaven. So as not to tarnish the rest of creation, we were blocked from returning to Eden and to work out our own salvation in fear and trembling. We place these hindrances around ourselves in the form of leads or blocked because of our error and unforgiveness for the error we caused. God is most forgiving, but we must forgive our wrongs to teach unto the height we are able to achieve. In each life, echoes of the fall show our errors, and we must forgive ourselves for all wrongs before redemption can be achieved. A child is born to reach a certain height in the throes of fall to help and bring others in darkness into the light. None are born for evil, but many fall onto the wayside, confused and embittered to why they were born. If enough souls are born and turn towards the light, it can expand through the darkness, and many can see the lighted way and become lit like lamps, and thus the fall is exterminated in the light of love. This is God's initial plan, but many weak souls, forgetful of their divine purpose, fall again and again until they reach a state of darkness where there is little rescue, hell, or they make a turn on the road of light heaven. This is a gradual turn toward God, but in the turn, it appears instantaneous because the awesome light that moves through love. But it started small so as not to overwhelm the soul or short circuit the mind and body. When a child is born, everything appears out of sync because it is. This place seems weird in many areas except rainbows, awesome nature scenery that can take your breath away, or days that seem completely free of evil. Rare. The languages we use are not enough to take away the times of confusion because many things do not sync as they should. People come along and seem to sync with us, while others seem out of step with our way of seeing things. In time, the whole thing appears as a jumble of pieces on a board, and it is. There appear to be people we are more connected to than others, and this cannot be ignored. This does not mean that these people are good for us, but we feel a special connection to them. Then there are some who repel us for some reason, but this does not mean they are not right for us, but we must follow what makes us comfortable, because to ignore the spirit can turn into a tragedy. Each child is born with blinders on due to the fallen state, but seers, psychics, have these blinders or leaves removed to a degree, while sensitives can feel certain vibrations with some degree of understanding can ascertain the truth. There are certain levels of understanding when it comes to the spirit, and each child born should be taught there is a responsibility in connecting to spirit. Being on earth automatically, our soul is subject to the pull of dark intentions. If our soul is connected more to the darkness than light, we can experience forms of possession as to audio, hearing voices, visual, seeing demonic entities at the corner of our eyes, and the loss of time and events while still performing actions is only the tip of the iceberg of full possession. There are dark entities who are not able to move through the light and become born into a human body, so they will settle for taking over the space of a weak person aligned with the darkness. The horrendous things these individuals do on earth would not have been performed without the encouragement of dark entities. But this does not take away from the possessed their responsibility for these crimes. The possession will have to admit the error of their ways and ask for forgiveness, or they will move directly into the dark world, hell. Forgiveness is key here. We all make errors in some way, but there are degrees of darkness, and some are heinous beyond comprehension for a soul committed to light. Possession from dark entities would not be possible if you stayed in the light of love through prayer, affirmations, meditations, and divine thinking. This constant three-pronged action can block out dark thoughts, emotions, and intentions. It is your responsibility to remain committed to the light and love of God and not fall into dark intentions. Remember, you are responsible for what you do, and to blame only an outside force for your own weakness is another form of weakness. Many would use the excuse, I have the propensity towards violence due to violence being inherent in my past. I have heard this from time to time in some fashion, but it's still an excuse with legs. The moment we are born, we are all inherent towards violence. Our genes contain memory, and this is within each bloodline. This includes all the faults of alcoholism and other drug use, rape, and other forms of violence, even unto murder. But the propensity to do something is no excuse to fall to its errors. We are still responsible for our own actions, and just because we can be inclined towards error does not mean we may be subject to it. Our mission, each child born into a world born awry, is here to bring the light that is within them. This is the true ambition of each soul. But many fell into the ambition of money, power, and sexual pursuits over spirit. Ambition for money, power, and sex defeats each soul's purpose of spiritual higher pursuits because they are anathema to faith, hope, and love. The highest potential for money is how to give it away, to do the best for someone else to enjoy. Power's highest bid is through its connection to help someone achieve their highest purpose. Sexual connections can only achieve their highest in marital permitted union. Many believe they are born for their desires, and they are defeated by these pursuits. No one is born for desire. What got us in this place from the first fall is desire and impatience. We are all born for the ascension toward God, even the darkness of the fall. In agreement, each soul agrees to come and do the divine will. But we continually break our promise, which are echoes of the fall all over again. None are born to be evil, but there are various films and quotes that some children are born evil. This is not possible coming from the highest source, which is the heart of God. Some children are more inclined toward the darkness due to the memory of genes, and when they mature or immature, move in this darkness to gain some supremacy on earth. This is an illusion. There is no supremacy on earth. Earth is a temporary place like a school, and then we all return home. But those who are not ready to return home, their souls dabble in the darkness, and this is hell. There are even drawings of angels tossing souls in the lake of fire. This teaching is in error. God and angels do not toss souls in the lake of fire. We go there on our own accord because of sins and regrets not rectified while on earth. After we pass into the great beyond, these sins and regrets can be rectified if souls are open to help from angelic beings that appear in forms that comfort. But if these souls have turned to total darkness and cannot be saved, they suffer in the realms of hell for some time. The three purposes, three voices, I like to say, of purpose. The three voices of purpose are mission, goal, and task. Each soul is born with a certain mission in mind. This is the overall reason to be on earth. Goal is the smaller movement to keep a soul on the mission. So the goal usually complements the mission, and the tasks are smaller movements toward the goal. With the mission in mind, the soul can achieve their purpose, but on any slight deviation through the goal or task can prolong or derail the intended mission. Therefore, each soul must be in tune with the divine in some shape or form and further away from the light and love the darker the path. Genes and the flesh. The gene of each soul goes back generations with innate memories that reveal themselves through time as the baby moves into childhood, teenager, middle age, mature, and finally old age. With the constrictions of language and environment, the individual, along with gene expression, is confined within certain perimeters to achieve their soul's purpose. With propensity toward violence, deceit, and other dark turnings, everyone has within them the ability to achieve the highest away from dark turnings. Alcoholism, disease, and other dark turnings are all embedded in each gene, so there are none that are born in the flesh perfectly. Each soul is placed on earth to achieve beyond the flesh and its dense matter. Many souls are impressed by the body, the flesh, genes, and any temporary achievements the body can perform instead of seeing the entire picture. The whole picture is the spirit to use the body instead of the body to entrap the spirit through desires of the body. Environment. The environment is what each baby is born into, but the environment can be transformed through gradual impressions from everyone. Others collectively can play a part in the environment as it transforms to higher or lower according to the mindset of people. So any environment is constantly in flux. Through several generations, the environment can be improved on Earth, but it will take at least 4 to 5 generations, 30 to 40 years per generation before a substantial change is noticed. Minimal change through one generation. So, any laws implemented will not be noticed as having much effect on the environment until much later, and people, being usually impatient for change, would demand more stringent laws until the system is changed quickly. But to what extent? Remember, strict laws do not make what is in our hearts manifest, and these laws should be implemented to help the race function as in an optimum performance, not to act as what is in our hearts, a separate matter. Notice the word matter. The environment appears solid, but this is an illusion. Energies are constantly moving in and out of environments, and this makes it unstable, only held together by our thought patterns. The moment our thought change, the environment begins to change, but gradually. The reason it takes so long to change the environment is because we are not in step when it comes to change or how to change it. So much conflict causes the environment to become unstable. The moment we think, pray, and move as a collective body in tandem to improve the environment from the heart, it becomes instant and the change is quickly noticed. Lifestyle. The lifestyle you impose is what could shorten your life or prolong it to achieve your purpose on earth. What a waste that many souls have traversed this beautiful earth and left only darkness in its wake. The progression of the soul is only achieved when each soul born remembers they are here to progress. Thus, their progression will help others. There are a variety of dark corners through lifestyle that have in the past turned a soul away from their true purpose. Various forms of substance abuse, including alcoholism, which is another form of drug addiction, and other forms of substance abuse are connected to genes, environment, and lifestyle. GEL, which is GEL. Genes, environment, and lifestyle are three of the major factors of being in the human body. It appears we have many things against us than for us in being born, but the spirit of love is beyond them all, and each soul that moves in the spirit from God can traverse the jail, genes, environment, and lifestyle. Tasks that lead to goals. The goals of each person tie into the goals of another because we are all come from the same divine Father, Mother. Darkness and light work hand in hand, but in the hands of babes or young souls who are not masters in the manipulation of matter, the darkness reigns. This is what happened in the fall as we, seeing a better way to honor God, fell from our grace into a darkness that has lasted for eons. Of course, fall from grace is displayed not clearly in many books because it was all but forgotten, the true fall. This is not the fault of the writer, but from an eon of cataclysms that wiped out the true records of the fall. Born with a purpose to correct this error, various writers tried to clarify this event, but through genes, environment, and lifestyle, gel, the message usually became opaque, hard to grasp. Of course, the fall of man and woman had nothing to do with an apple, which is allegorical. The fall had to do with disobedience, thinking we knew better than God what was right for us. So each baby born was born to love, but to bring us back that this earth is a playground we should seriously take responsibility for. So each goal of each child is a reminder to us to be vigilant in being obedient in love. As the miracle of a child shines from the crib, we must adjust our lifestyle to reflect that love. Through choice and not persuasion, we can live the life we came to achieve. Not sure of your goal in life? Check out a sunset or sunrise and meditate, and the divine will speak to your heart. Tasks are reminders of the direction of our lifestyle. If our tasks are destructive of yourself or others, you are not achieving what you were born to do. In creative endeavors, there are no schemes against others to do harm. If your tasks do not remind you of the light and love throughout various activities about the day, it is a matter of time, and you will slip into darkness. I have placed various books to read and audio versions of books, radio and television programs to observe and listen to throughout the day. I can change these as I go along and constantly work towards improvement. Of course, errors are in tasks, but they are connected to human endeavor and expect problems. But with slight modifications, much can be achieved through optimum performance. With your heart in the right place, you can achieve much in life, but a heart in pain or sorrow will only need to be healed before tasks can be rightly used to the benefit of the individual. In pain and sorrow, we were and are at one time or another. So, humble yourself to God to achieve the utmost in yourself. Heal from the divine love that emanates your pain to wipe your tears. That should be embraces your pain to wipe your tears. There you go. That's better. Circumstances and situations. In circumstances and situations, they are similar in nature but different after clear introspection. Situation is a set of circumstances in which one finds oneself, while circumstances are fact or condition connected with an event or action. A situation is a thing that is happening, while the circumstance is the condition of that thing. From this definition, from several points of study, a circumstance is something that is beyond a person's control. in varying degrees, while situation can be controlled by that person to some extent. It's not a pat formula to try and manipulate circumstances because they are much larger than we are. But our situation is our situation and can be manipulated to some degree. To try and achieve complete control of our life is not achievable because the circumstances are much larger than we are. But the situation, much smaller, can be better handled. We are not disconnected from others. And with lives intertwined, this can bring pressure on our psyche to try and force a situation to our liking. It would be better to let inertia play itself out than step in to handle matters from a less stressful place. People to this day remain broken from crushing energies at play due to trying to control things beyond their control. Faith, hope, and charity. With enough faith, we can achieve through the fallen state. Some souls see the earth as a playground of potential, yes, only to achieve the utmost in divinity, but not as a playground for anything else but love. It's not about money or the house or even the car. These are manifestations of a fallen state. Yes, they are to be respected, but not worshiped as the all. These are all tools, as the body is a tool to be respected, but not worshiped in its body of desires, and thus errors in its wantonness. Faith is a necessity because of the darkness we will go through on earth. Faith is not necessary after your soul leaves its body because you will be home. Why would you need faith then? Hope is required because the dark points of existence as if in a long dark tunnel, and hope is necessary. But with a combination of faith strengthens the possibility you will achieve and not faint. After this lifelong battle of faith and hope comes a form of compassion called charity. Within charity, the service to others without the advertisement of self, but for being selfless, for the enhancement of others. Faith, hope, and charity, working as a three-pronged effect, can only enhance your life to the stage you will find immense light. The rise. We as human species can rise only through divine touch or being open to God, not through the fallen state, for those things of despair and darkness. This was the era of Adam and Eve, or echoes of this state, where they pushed the envelope and a whole species fell. But it is more than that. You wonder how there can be more of a species that is fallen. We don't have to remain fallen. We can rise above our conditions of despair and darkness into divine light with a commitment to God. If not, we remain in our broken state, less of our true origin, until another significant disaster cuts the population in half. This is why so many matters have been placed on the table, so to speak, because we have all been through this scenario eons ago, and since we did not handle it well, here we are again. We must bring all the peoples as one to move in the light and love of God. This is a choice and not to be compelled. That's it on the 8 sections of care teachings for a new world. So I hope you enjoyed that read. Full book is auto narrated with a much kinder voice on Google Play Books for 99 cents. If you don't want to pay for the book, you can just contact me at Michael Lighten, 72, I have a few of them, 72 at gmail.com. Or you can contact my ad website, www peoplestillread.com and just make some notes in there that you want a free audiobook. Also in the works, there are two more in development: The Forgotten Case of Rain and Communications and Love, not a rug. Amazon.com, GooglePlaybooks.com, Draft to Digital, which is Barnes & Noble and Apple Books. Also, there are other authors that I would connect in the show notes that have connections to this one. So that'll be on all these 8 sections. I would give it a rest, and I would go into the soundtracks. That'd be fun. I believe I will use the FL Studios, something like that, something simple that I can connect to. So this is Michael Lighten, and I will see you in the next audio.